Hey, what is going up, Arjun? My name is Jumpin' Jeff, and in Unicorn, depending on what time you send in this VOD review. Sorry if it's been a while since you sent this. I've just been busy with a lot of real life stuff, but I wanted to get this VOD review done and get this back to you. And so today we're looking at some gameplay. Based on what you said, you're about 500 hours in. You're a plat player, but in this clip you're gold, which is fine, all good. And talk about how these are your above average teammates, or like good skilled teammates where you felt like you could have done more with it or got capitalized better. And so today I want to go through some pointers of how you could do that, as well as opportunities for you as from both a team's perspective as a at leading your team to success, as well as your solo responsibilities, especially if you're solo queuing. But even with a team, these are all the pointers that I'm going to list out are going to help you improve overall. So let's get right into this. First thing we're going to notice is this is the drop. You guys drop at Harvester. And the big things that stand out to me right away is first, you're just not looking around anywhere, right? Currently, I know you're messing around with mute options and make sure you can hear everyone, all that good jazz. But right now, we are about to hit the ground, and we have no idea where any of the other teams are, right? We don't know if anyone is currently landing with us. We don't know if they're landing at that little no-name village, who's landing at staging, thermal, lava siphon, how many teams are landing at all these areas. And this is something that's very important because one, it dictates A, where you're going to land in your immediate area, and B, help you decide where you want to go after you finish looting your POI, point of interest, just in case you didn't know the shorthand. But so you always want to be looking around at the dropship. With the high perspective that you have, it is the freest info you're going to get that doesn't require any legend ability. So always utilize that. Second thing we're going to note here, is the fact that we all land in the same place. Now, this might have just been because of the options we were messing around with, but this is gonna. We want to make sure that we are spreading out on where we land and looting our wherever we drop efficiently. Now, efficiency is something I'm going to be very proactive on, something I stress about, because for a lot of players, they'll be like, oh, I only wasted 30, 40 seconds doing this. But in that 30, 40 seconds, that was the time you needed in order to capitalize on a good third party, get a safe rotation, be able to get to the loop before your opponent does, right? These are all things that come from if you're doing it fast. So make sure that we're spreading out on this POI and having an idea of a path of, okay, my teammate's going to land here and he's going to loot. My team's going to land at this tunnel and he's going to loot the lower bins, and then he's going to eventually make our way to his way moving towards lava siphon. My other teammate's going to land at the other snake tunnel, loot some of that, loot his tunnel, go to the other side of the bins, and then meet me at lava siphon. And I'm going to loot the far west side with above all of these other bins, and then loot middle, and then the other high rise area, and then I'm going to also move towards siphon. By doing this, you guys are you guys aren't limited on loot, or like sharing the same loot and trying to feel like, oh, I need a gun and everything, and then also saves you time. The other thing is that if you have an idea of how you want to path, this allows you to know where to land if you are contested. So for example, if a team decides to contest you harvester and they all land in the middle, right? That's great. You guys take tunnels. Maybe you take the top bins if you can, but on the west side, bam, they only got the middle and the other side, the other high rise area. Versus you guys having all these snake bins, having that other high rise, and you guys have a much better chance of having better resources than your opponents. Sorry if I said it a little, trying to make some of this stuff weren't exactly my notes, but I think is good to point out. So yeah, these are the first two things. So we go through looting, blah blah blah. I'm gonna skip through this because your looting is actually quite good, like deciding what you want relatively fast. Now, something I will mention, and I will make a big deal of later, but as soon as Ring 1 comes in, you should instantly open up your map. you should be constantly using this map, as the ring helps dictate where you are going to go, right? Like, for example, you kind of just hover towards lava siphon because you generally know, yeah, there's going to be people there, potentially, could get a third party. You eventually hear gunfire, and you're like, okay, let's third party that, right? But by opening your map and looking where this ring is pulling, you can decide, okay, maybe we should move towards this general area because, or, maybe move towards this beacon that's in ring and still close to us, right? That might be the difference between choosing staging or choosing to go towards geyser or siphon, right? These are all things that help you make decisions and have a game plan the moment you come into this game, because anytime you don't have a game plan, you're wasting time, missing opportunities, potentially can get caught out by multiple teams. So open up that map, and genuinely, I don't even know what ring this is because we didn't open the map at all. So I can only see the fringe of where ring 1 was ending towards the end of this video. So we continue looting, and we're gonna head out to, I believe it was 206. So overall, we wasted probably about 30 seconds at this looting, and I'm going to show why this 30 seconds is really important. So
try going in third party and buys up ahead.
You make a great call. That's a great call. You hear the gunfire, you're like, let's make a third party ahead. Something you have to make note of is the fact that because you land at Harvester, you are limited on resources. It's not a big POI. You only have so many shields. Only one and especially without crafting, you can't craft up to better shields. Can't make shield batteries, ammo, all that good stuff. You have a Sentinel with very limited shots, as well as a L-Star with 40 shots only. This is not the best loot situation, and personally, I would like to loot maybe this bridge up, as well as maybe I would have gone to No Name to see if I can grab some more ammo or different weapons in general. But if you're confident that you can make do with this, this is not impossible to win a third party, especially out of these resources. So when you are landing at a POI as small as this, you either have to full commit to that third party really quick and capitalize on the opportunity and then take all their loot, or just continue to loot those smaller places like I was mentioning, this bridge, the village just outside Siphon, you can even go towards Thermal Station, loot a couple of those houses above Thermal Station, right? These are all things that generally people don't land at and you could take advantage of. Yeah. So we go up there. Might be something good this way. We finally get into mid. And we're messing around with this flat line. We're like, What? We're messing with these guns and everything, and then we just look at that. The other team has finished the third party. We're not able to immediately jump onto them, and now we're giving them opportunities to restabilize. And this is where it hurts. Why I was making such a big deal about the 34 seconds. If we're there before that, we can easily walk up on them, kill them while one's on low ground, two of them on this middle floor or whatever. They're not ready for this. Bam, bam. Easy 2 to 3 KP. Now you're going to be near positive or positive already, just in gold. But let's say it's higher rank, you could just ride off that KP, let placement do some work, whatever the case is. Bada bing, bada boom. You're making consistent positive gains like that. But let's say you want to make the zipline play and you're like, I only just got my zipline. Even if you did it if you got there 10 seconds earlier and figured out everything about the armor, the weapon that you want to run, if you're there earlier, exactly at 38 seconds, that was 13 extra seconds that you could have gotten there, shot a zip from this mid building, got right across to them, have full control of the high ground, or just jump straight onto them if they were weak or in bad positions, right? But those are only opportunities that are going to come if you are decisive and know what you're doing from the get-go. So once again, go skip a little bit ahead. So something I'm going to talk about here really quick is your teammate just took R99 shots. You want to start taking a leadership role in your games. Especially if you're solo queue or even a party, right? The best way you can make consistent climbs in any rank in ELO is by leading the team to success. And you need to be that leader, because at the end of the day, especially if you're solo queue, you are the only consistent factor, and you are the main determination in your rank, regardless if you have a team or not. So you want to make sure that you are that you have a call always ready, or know what to do, or at least have an attempt at be able to create that plan, right? Because you're not going to always know 100% exactly what's the best call. I can't even do that. At the end of the day, we're only human. We don't have perfect info. We have to make it based off our experience, knowledge, and those are the two biggest factors. So one of the things I would say here is your teammate has an R99. He is not going to kill anyone from that range. I would have been telling my team, hey, don't shoot at them. Walk up. Let's get closer, and let's find a better angle or better range so that we can finish them really quickly before they can even react, right? Because now that your teammate shoots the R99 at these opponents, quickly they're going to realize that they're getting third party. That guy goes up to zip. He's now with his team. And now there's a Loba that's charge rifling you, as well as another enemy being right there. They're going to hold you out, and because you don't have a portal of any sort, you can no longer zip across safely to these opponents, right? Now, if you just simply didn't make any sound and shot the zip right away, got to high ground, this would not have been a problem at all. And what this leads to is this very bad situation where you can't push them safely anymore, and you waste multiple minutes. In fact, for the next 6 minutes, you spend here and eventually die here, because not to this team, but because that's how dragged out this fight becomes, and you want to just hold them out and everything, it eventually leads you to this grave situation. So you trade, miss, whatever. It's fine. Like, we're not perfect. I've whiffed so many shots of my snipers, whatever. That's going to happen, and obviously you don't want that to happen, but that's alright. That's just a matter of working on mechanics, adjusting, just getting used to hitting those shots from range more. It's alright. But something I do want to talk about is, we'll go back, or actually this is a perfect place. At this point, you have 1 battery and 4 cells. You're about to use 2 cells to heal up the missing shields that you have right now. I would not worry about poking at this point. You'll be down to 2 cells and a single battery and a Phoenix, which is not enough to win this poke war. And your only poking weapon is a Sentinel, right? The Sentinel is not going to knock someone who's playing cover like that. Even if you headshot them, they'll just hide behind that cover, and their other teammates cover if you try to push onto them, right? There just really isn't good opportunity to get a kill here, and they have a Loba as well with a charge rifle. You're just going, this is just a losing battle for you, that only wastes resources and has high risk for your team. So honestly, I would try to leave at this point. There's really no reason to be here. I'd be looking at the map, being like, okay, where do we want to rotate next, right? Exit out this backside toward the train tracks. I'm gonna start pulling out my pencil. I would just go down here, look to maybe get out here, potentially get out here, one of these 2 areas.
If I stuck one of them, will you give me $5?
Also, the comms are funny in this. I love the comms that you have with your teammates here.
You better make an account. Just bring me a check for his hand. Yo, one of them is lagging.
Yeah, the guy was lagging pretty bad.
There's literally a team over there too.
This is something I want to note, right? As soon as you see a third team right there, this is a red flag of, oh no, I should be leaving this, right? You guys have been fighting here for multiple minutes now. There's a team out in the distance. We know other teams from the whole west side and south and west side in general have been hearing the shots you've been shooting at Siphon. People are at 0 KP right now, especially early on this game. There's still 13 squads alive. Everyone is KP hungry. They hear shots. They're waiting. All it takes is a trade on both sides, then you get wiped very easily. I'd be saying we either have to commit to this fight right now, or we're getting out of this. Those are the only good options you have left. So, this next sequence here is something I want to talk about. Wait, no. Is this a sequence yet?
Alright,
No.
you can have your long.
Sorry about that. Oh, right here. At this position, even though you cracked this guy, I just wouldn't. You should never be poking in this situation. One, you're limited on your flatline ammo, right? If you have to commit to a full fight, 120 is a very scarce amount, and you only have an EVA 8 as your backup with no ammo as well. If you're at a full commit fight and you run out of ammo, you are going to be useless, right? The other thing why you would never you just don't even mess with this is they have a much better angle, right? They have high ground, they have distance, they have a charge rifle, they have a head glitch, they have everything they could want, and you have to have perfect shots onto them, and while they have a much better view of you, and can control at the pace that when they peek and when they don't, right? This is just very bad situation. You're low on shields. I would just say this is not a good poke, because if any of these players start hitting their shots onto you, you are now in a terrible spot. So just X out the train checks like I was drawing earlier, and this should be all be fine.
Get him 76 on the roof.
I'll push if you push.
Actually, we could just zone camp him, get push us.
This is something I just made a quick note of. That's not true. They actually don't have to zone camp you. In fact, all they have to do is go towards this backside right here, and then they can wrap out this way, this way. Now, if they wrapped out this way, I would be saying, hey, let's look for this fight, because we know there's a team over by launch site who was looking earlier, right? This is a very easy rotation. This is a very easy third party. You can make it zip across right here on top of the roof, get it easy third party if that was the case, right? But most likely, if I was there in their position, I would just say fall to the backside, go all the way around here, and because we're just kind of sitting here and not really thinking about what our opponents may do, they could wrap around us, and actually we might be in an even worse spot, because there's a team launch site that could walk up as us that covers here, and then they could be covering all the way over here, right? So we want to make sure that we don't misinterpret that situation. Think about what are all the options my enemy has from here, especially ring 1, because it's such a big zone and it doesn't hurt at all, really. Even if they tank some of the zone, holding them out is not as viable as one would think, compared to ring 2 and onwards. Alright. So, something I want to highlight over is 537, you say going for ammo, which is fine, right, makes sense. But you kind of do this weird pathing, right? You're like, okay, switch weapons, you had no ammo for RE. Then you kind of go up here, and then you go down here, and then you're like, oh wait, I can just walk over here and I should be looking for more stuff. It kind of tells me that you're zoned out while playing, and this is something that you want to avoid at all times. If you're looking, not like if you're just chilling, having a good time, you do you. But if we're looking for best top gameplay, we're trying to really improve, you always want to stay engaged. And, it feels like in this situation, well, what do I think about, right? First thing, this is why we open the map. Remember, this is how you, by opening the map, it gives you a general sense of where you have to go next, where enemies might want to show up, and tie with info where other people landed, where other people may be coming soon, right? Now they have this info of people potentially are coming from tree and thermal station towards us, towards lava siphon. There's that team in front of us who may rotate to the left side, and there is, maybe guys are also looking to come in our direction. Where do we want to go? Well, if I'm thinking that, I'm like, well, if we go out this way, this is very risky. We can get shot out, and one of us may go down. So I want to go down, out this train tracks, hug these train tracks, and just go back to where we came from. Or in fact, I might even go out this way. It's a little riskier and greedier, but we are down bad on resources, and we may need to, right? But either way, these are both fine rotations, and it's at least a game plan, and there's a good reason why you do it. I'm bad on resources, and we had to move it because of rain. Enemies are potentially looking to get in front of us, so we need to move there first. That's how you think of a game plan, and you stay engaged. You can also, if you're like, I'm not sure where I want to path because I'm good at resources, I'm good at, we're okay in the rain. We have a little ways we may have to travel, but it should be fine. Then think, where is a beacon that I can hit along the way so that we can have an even better position than we thought before and more definitive, right? Planning all these possibilities and scenarios is how you build that game sense. Your aim's actually quite good, towards the end of the clip, we see you hit some nice shots, especially with that 4 times flatline. Really good control you had. But now we want to start building that game sense up. And the only way you do that is by thinking about what you're actually doing and why you're doing it. When you start reasoning out what you're doing and why, you start realizing, you start finding generalizations you can apply to other situations that are similar, because every game is going to play out differently. Even if they're very similar situations, there's minute differences of things you have to know of and abuse correctly. This is the only way you find those things out, is by discovering general rules that you can apply, and you have to just be constantly thinking about your own game. So we continue. We get to about 624, and we're in this playing this bin, right? Same rules apply. It's still head glitch, but now you're in an even worse spot than before. And I would, just because you're, even lower ground, and also you don't have that good, somewhat okay angle from the hangar section that you were playing in. I don't know how else to describe it, but this spot is very bad, because if they grab grenades from a Lobo ult, or if they just have grenades in general, they can easily throw grenades where you are, and then you have to run out in the open where they can get free shots onto you. And if you go down, they have a very easy path to just run straight at you and your team, and then you guys get wiped like that. So I would not be playing here at all. You're not gonna knock anyone. You're just grapple back inside, and then I would just leave. But we're committed to that at this point. Just staying inside at the very least. Wait until they are forced in by rain. So we continue up towards about 7:30. Or here, we'll go back here. So they run wide in the open. They chose the worst rotation, right? Now, it's good that you're in a position to punish them, but like I said earlier, while it looks like, we were in the correct spot to hold them out, if they were just more aware and realized that the ring one is in danger and that they could just rotate out the back safely, this type of rotation, you don't get this type of pick normally. Good shots, and then we go walk up, looking for an angle on our opponents. It's a good trade. That's a good trade, especially in this 1-for-1 scenario. This is really good. I would just heal after this. The reason you heal after this is you have a man advantage. There's no need to risk you just re-peeking and dying and making it an even fight, or at the very least a closer fight that your enemies can win. Prioritize staying alive at all times, right? I know a lot of times you're like, if I just hit a few more shots, in that scenario, I would have stayed up, and I would have got the kill, and then I get KP, and it's all great, right? But if you staying alive and having a presence limits their opportunities to make a comeback, right? Who cares if you have to wait 30 extra seconds or a minute, if that, let's say 10 to 30 seconds extra, just to make sure that you win this fight soundly after popping a battery or popping the 2 cells. That is all right. But if you risk going down here, but if you just, by re-peeking or going all in, you're now wasted 10 to 15 minutes on this game waiting to queue up, land, drop, all of that, just to go negative at the end of the day, right? Like, you actually lost even more time based if you're looking at it from a points perspective. So there's no reason to jump the gun on this and re-peek. Now we do make a repeat. I don't like this repeat just because you can't really strafe on it. And maybe if you're going for a pot shot or two and drop off, sure. But there's no need to risk. You stay here for a really long time. If she doesn't whip her shots here, right, because you aren't a strafing target, you do have cover. So you could argue the cover is fine. But with, if she just has the good lineup right from the get-go and she trades 1-for-1 for you, you could be in a bad spot. Or if she does better. But it's not the worst peak. Taking another look. So it's fine, but I personally don't like to. Especially in a scenario where, you're up a man. There's no need to get 1-for-1. And something else I want to explain in this reason why you don't want to go down is, remember, this is not TDM, this is not arenas. You're not fighting just one team. In a battle royale, you have to be considering every other team that's still alive. You know, if you miss out on KP here, but you're alive, you throw that heat shield down instantly, you guys heal, and maybe you can make it back inside towards the where you guys been playing this entire time. Instead, later on, we see what went wrong.
Up the bang. I failed my grapple though.
This grapple should never happen. This is regardless if you hit the grapple well or not, like the execution of the grapple itself, you just never make this grapple. One, there's no line of sight support from your teammates. So if we go back just a little bit here, look at this angle that you're playing and where your teammates are. If you grapple forward, they're playing right here on this platform. Think about what they can actually see from this perspective. Same thing about here, just a little wider, but not much past this, as well as your opponents down here.
I failed my grapple.
Right here, your opponents cannot see anything around this corner, meaning that if this Bangalore comes around the corner and fights you, you can't get that. Even though you're up a man, you're essentially fighting a 1v1 realistically in this scenario. So you have to consider your teammate's perspective. Also, if the Wraith was peeking as well, you now have two separate angles you are getting attacked from at the very same time. So you want to now at this point it could be potentially 2v1 onto you. You get downed, and this could be the comeback that they're looking for, right? So we want to. That's a number one reason why it's not a good grapple. Two, by grappling in and without healing, despite you cracking two players, because you have no line of sight support, it's essentially a coin flip even 1v1. Actually worse for you because you're playing right in the open and you can't immediately make cover if you start losing this 1v1. There's also the slant kind of gives them a little head glitch potentially, right? There's a lot, so this could actually be a even slightly worse 1v1 for you. But beyond just it being a whether it's even 1v1 or not, why even coin flip this in the first place? There's no need to. You just have to take it a little slower. You guys fight, you kill the Wraith. Even if Bangalore runs away, who cares? You got 2 KP, but everyone's alive, and you can reset and stabilize. That is the number one thing you're looking for in any fight. As soon as you finish a fight, how can you guys stabilize quickly? Because in Battle Royales, it is all about third party. Third party is when you're most vulnerable. Third party is the easiest time to get KP, all that good jazz. So you want to be able to stabilize as quickly as possible. 3, why this is a bad grapple, you have no escape tool. Once you use it forward, you can't use it backwards, obviously. So you want to make sure that you only grapple in like this if you have a clear advantage already, which you don't in the realistic sense of this 1v1. Lastly, this was a bad grapple because you kind of got indecisive, right? You grappled forward, and it looked like you're going to full send on the bang, and then you're like, ooh, my teammates are shooting at this Wraith. Maybe I should be supporting them, right? It kind of like hit you after a second. You're like, oh, wait, I have a team. We should just all kill this Wraith instead, and then we'll be fine, right? But when you think about this. You know the Bangalore just ran around the corner. Like, you grappled as soon as she got around that corner. And you don't hear a healing sound. She didn't, you don't hear her cancel anything. Meaning that she is guns out, suns out, guns out. That means you have to be looking her way, as she's probably going to be looking your way as well. So if you're going to grab a forward like that, stay with your decisions. Be consistent. Your enemy doesn't disappear if you just look away from them. From here, now you get melted. And it's like, oh, we have a lifeline. Yeah, it's the last one. Great.
I go for res and copy Q. Thank you very much. I have a shield.
And see here, let's think about this. This res is about from 8
I go for res and copy Q.
804, 812. You have to throw down the heat shield now. And then you pop a Phoenix at another 10 seconds right there. And now look at that. By the time you had to spend all this time making a big old heat shield that says, I'm here, and everyone has to heal up, you now are in a terrible spot. You're getting naded out. You have no cover. And because we didn't account for the team that was way out, that we noted way back when, we get naded, make it a 3v1, and despite your teammate almost winning it, you go down.
Is that another
right?
Yeah.
So it's all these little things that we can trace back to your beginning. You were too slow on looting up because you weren't really paying attention too much, which means you got late to the third party, which means you couldn't effectively third party, which means you spend the next 6 minutes in the same POI fighting against the same team, who really didn't even have to, that you really couldn't even punish, whether rotating out or even just right after that fight. And then we get a good knock. We get a good knock on to making it a 2v3, which is fortunate for us. But then we throw away our advantage by trying to go in, which leaves an opportunity for your opponent to get an easy kill onto you, since you have to spend so much time healing up at the end. And alright, that's basically the VOD review. If you have any questions, you can always just DM me on Discord, NNJUnicorn, #1048, or just find Jumpin' Jeff on the coach role under Apex University. Hopefully this helps you realize some of the steps that you can take next. And if you want clarification, just let me know. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this is helpful. Good luck in your future games.